Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the life and times of a United States colored trooper, and we have with us to talk about the life and times of a United States colored trooper, Gary Burke. And not only will you talk about the life and times of a United States colored trooper, Gary Burke, but you will also give us some information about the real Gary Burke, giving us some information in reference to your background, education, and some of your experiences, and that would be during the first segment. And after that, we will come back and find you as a United States colored trooper, Gary Burke, and you'll talk about some of your experiences and some of the things that you think our audience might be interested in. But before we get to that part, let's talk about you as an individual and how you became involved in what you were doing.
Well, first of all, Dr. Haney, thank you for having me here on your show. I'm a native Nashvilleian, born and bred, grew up, of course, here in the city. Just always had a passion from history from grade school. I remember the first place I went to was the Hermitage, the home of President Andrew Jackson. And I knew at that time that I had some kind of passion for history. I just didn't know what to do with it. So as I matriculated through the grade schools and junior high and high school, I came to Tennessee State University, and I met a Dr. James Haney and took his class of history. And from that point on, I've been passionate about history ever since, and I thank you for teaching me that passion, Dr. Haney.
We appreciate you saying that, Gary. But how did you become involved in a reenactor, as a reenactor? Where did that come from?
Well, I tell you, after watching the movie Glory in 1989, I just had a passion about where did these brave black men come from. And in that research, I ran across a couple of gentlemen, a gentleman named Bill Radcliffe, who was speaking at a library, and a gentleman named Dennis Boggs, who was portraying President Lincoln. And when I found them, I knew I had been linked to something special. And that group, we've been together ever since. So finding those gentlemen on the road already to history, I joined in and marched right in with them.
And in a real sense, you've almost internalized being a trooper in reference to the war and all of those activities that are involved in it. Is that?
Yes, sir. I talk about it like this. When I'm wearing this uniform, or if I'm not wearing this uniform, it's the dignity that those men fought for our lives, that they paved the way to our freedom, and I owe them everything that I enjoy today through them and Almighty God.
And so in a real sense, you are a reenactor, but you've internalized so much of it. As a matter of fact, I think I got that experience when you talked about the gentleman who is Abraham Lincoln. I think that I had an opportunity to meet him at the dedication of the Radcliffe statue. And my only impression was that he was literally Mr. Abraham Lincoln, and that's essentially what he told me. And I get the impression that that's who you are now. You have sort of internalized this character, and now you can tell us a lot of things about it. And so the trip to eventually becoming to where you are now has been a very enjoyable trip. It appears to me the way you're telling it now. Is that what you're saying?
That is so true, Dr. Haney. It is a passion and a privilege. All of us who walk this path, I wrote a poem called A Common Road, how we all walk together to this common road of history, and that we all gladly and humbly take it. And it's humbling to be able to portray our history. It's humbling to be able to stand up where they lie down for our freedom today.
And so the Emancipation and Proclamation, all of those things really mean something to you long before you became a reenactor.
Yes, sir. It meant everything to me.
Well, I tell you what, why don't we've got about a minute or so before the end of this first segment. Then we want to get into your reenactment. But why don't you start off with by giving us a sample of what we can expect when this segment comes to an end and we begin this second segment.
Well, I tell you, it's a passion that we all share together. Our group is the 13th United States Colored Troops Living History Association. We even have links to our past history. We have the great-great-grandson of Frederick Douglass, who you just mentioned, is a member of our group. We also have a gentleman named Houston Overton Jr., who is also a descendant of the slaves of the Travelers Rest plantation of Judge John Overton. We also have others who are linked to history through the United States Colored Troops. And so I'll probably giving information about how the Battle of Nashville and Nashville influences all our lives through that thread of the Civil War.
Very good. And of course, we're going to take a short commercial break within the next 30 seconds, and then we'll come back. And so you are part of the 13th United States Colored Trooper.
Yes, sir.
Troop. Is that
Living History Association. We also have ladies who also are part of our group who interpret as black women, strong black women of that day as well.
Very good. And of course, we're going to take this first commercial break, and then we'll get back and we'll bring the Trooper Burke to our audience this morning. For the next two segments, we'll be able to deal with that. And we'll be back with this, with our guest following this here. We're talking to Trooper